A global heritage is turning into a humanitarian disaster. 40 years ago, it was Africa's third largest lake, covering over 25,000 square kilometers, where some 230,000 tons of fish were caught daily. High temperatures and precipitation patterns have caused changes in land use and land use change. Over 30 million people, half of which are Nigerians, are now in danger because more than 95% of the lake has dried up, thanks to climate change and human activity.
This basin was established together with the Sokoto Rima with the sole mandate of addressing the issues of food security for the nation. One key issue that stood in the line of our progress is the aspect of the receding lake chart, and that is a global issue. From an estimated areal of 27,000 kilometers square, the lake chart is now left with about 10%, which is about 2,000 kilometers square. And this is a very serious issue. It is a serious issue because it is battling, it is troubling us in the areas of food security. It's troubling us in the areas of general security for the country because of non-employment generation for the youth. It also has some socio-political and socio-economic impacts on the nation. The livelihood of over 30 million people depend on the lake chart. Out of the 30 million people that depend on the lake chart, 15 million are within this region. And this is to tell you how serious it is impacting on us.
On a lake that was once among the largest bodies of fresh water in the world, now sits a creeping desert with dwindling hope of life.
I'm standing right on this parcel of land that used to be part of the lake chart. Across those patches of trees there is a town called Dorombaga. From behind those trees up to some few meters in front of me, a stretch of over 4 kilometers used to be water. Today, completely this water has shrunk. The Time Atlas in 2007 estimates that the lake chart has shrunk by over 97%.
I have 4 wives and 25 children, and my primary occupation is fishing. From this water, we were able to generate enough income to clothe ourselves, feed, travel, and send our children to school. It was the uniting force between us and citizens of Chad, Niger, and Cameroon. This water used to stretch several kilometers into our villages. It has dried up. This is the tiny bit remaining. The lake is dying, and we are certainly dying with it because we can no longer sustain ourselves. It is no longer the uniting force between us and neighboring countries. In fact, it is the major source of conflict between us. The Chadian side has more of the water, so we go there to fish, but we are constantly harassed by the tax officials who often seize our fish and tools and extort money from us. Mostly we farm, but even farming is difficult because the water is not there. Only those who have irrigation equipment like water pumping machine can survive. Even those with water pumps are not finding it easy because they now have to drill further down to get water. You have come at the best time in the year because the rain have just ended. So you can see several activities going on. See the boat makers at work. Come here in another 3 months and you will find almost zero activity here.
Lake Chad is home to many floating islands, a wide variety of wildlife, and large communities of migrating birds. The drying up of the shallow lake is fueling conflict and migration.
I used to earn about 15,000 on each major outing. Now I earn less than 10% of that. Our entire community is dependent on the Lake Chad. I fear that someday the entire community will vanish because the source of our livelihood is vanishing. We are unable to get good drinking water. The quantity and size of fish is decreasing dramatically. Even our goats and cattle are suffering. The migratory birds hardly come this way. So this explains why our people are migrating to settle in other communities.
Unless adequate measures are promptly taken, such migration could easily generate tensions, conflicts, and wars.
It's obvious that from this gentleman's story, somebody, somewhere, have some responsibility to bear. The question we ask, for these efforts they have tried to adapt to the changes to their lives, to their livelihoods, who's going to pay for it?
Imagine the humanitarian disaster that could follow this ecological catastrophe in less than 20 years.